Gracias.
1
Hola amigos, ¿qué tal? ¿Cómo estáis? Pues nada, estamos aquí otra vez. No paramos, a las 3 hemos tenido un programa hablando sobre robótica y camino a la AGI. Y hoy tenemos a, como no, a Grok 4, lo que todo el mundo está hablando. Y bueno, nos da una pequeña ventaja para analizar con más calma, como siempre en xHUB, y con una visión distinta. Vamos a ver muchos datos, pero vamos a hacer también un análisis de lo que han presentado. Yo no he visto la presentación entera, sí que he visto evidentemente un montón de titulares, datos técnicos, reacciones 1000, podríamos hacer un programa de eterno, ¿no? Pero bueno, vamos a ver la presentación, luego haremos unas reflexiones al respecto con datos y benchmarks que han salido y también una reflexión sobre todo lo que está proponiendo Elon Musk, hacia dónde vamos. Y al final, una sorpresa inesperada, Ilya Sutskever. Así que no lo perdáis porque va a ser muy interesante. Vamos a ello. Como siempre, soy vuestro amigo Plácido Doménech. Un nuevo programa, un nuevo Inside X de xHUB.AI. Gracias por estar ahí, gracias por acompañarme, por acompañarnos. Y hoy, como he dicho, toca hablar de Grok 4, el futuro de la inteligencia artificial. Y con la etiqueta AI Wars, que fuimos de los primeros, que nos lo están copiando. ¿Cómo nos copian, Y bueno, pues sí. Estamos asistiendo a una guerra entre las Big Techs americanas, y China, y bueno, y el ruido de fondo de las flautas de Hamelín de Europa. Y el folclore de España. ¿O no? Bueno. Luego hay una reflexión final sobre esto un poco. Sobre Europa, España. Y no hicimos el programa de Europa de Hamelín, pero lo haremos, puede ser que la semana que viene. Que está la gente con la agenda de verano y bueno, pasa lo que pasa, ¿no? Entonces, bueno, sí que la Europa de Hamelín sí que requiere que sea debate y nada. Y bueno, también pensaba yo en el hombre este, ¿no? En Sam Altman. ¿Qué estará pensando este hombre? Bueno, él ha salido, no sé si habéis visto el vídeo, lo podríamos poner. Si no lo habéis visto porque es muy cortito, es unas declaraciones que ha hecho Sam Altman. Venga, vamos a ponerlo. Total, los xIDX. Oye, que he visto algunos vídeos de Grok 4 de algunos influencers españoles y bueno, no voy a poner nombres, luego vosotros lo adivináis, ¿vale? Para que sea más divertido. Está el niño del telediario, que bueno, hace los programas como si leyera el telediario, vamos, le ponen el guión ahí, habla como si fuera una voz de estas. A ver, a ver si encuentro el vídeo. Sí, mira, está aquí. Vale, porque son 3 minutos. Fijaos, vamos a ver esta presentación con este minuto que fue hace un día. Bueno, antes de la presentación de Grok 4, ¿vale? Si no lo habéis visto, interesante. Entonces vamos a ponerlo. Vamos a ponerlo. Y reflexionar. Vamos a ver. Vamos a ponerlo. Vamos a por ello.
Talent with Mark Zuckerberg and Meta. Fine.
Good.
And are you concerned about hiring or not having enough people to hire in this market? How are you feeling about the battle for talent with Mark Zuckerberg and Meta? Fine.
Good.
And are you concerned about hiring or not having enough people to hire in this market?
I think we have obviously we have an incredibly talented team, and I think they really love what they're doing. Obviously, some people will go to different places. There's a lot of excitement, I guess we could say, in the industry, but no, I think we feel fine.
Talk to us about AI regulation. The new Trump bill enables all 50 states to regulate individually. What does that mean for you and the other tech clients?
I mean, I assume we'll figure it out as we go. I don't think anyone knows how this is going to go. One thing I've learned about how regulation works is I have no idea, and neither do any of the supposed experts, but we'll figure it out.
What type of AI regulation would you advocate for that you think would also be fair in terms of competition?
Personally, I think something at the federal level focused on the sort of extreme leading edge of capabilities in a way that makes it easy for smaller companies to do whatever they want to do, but can sort of keep a check on the biggest safety risks. That seems sensible to me, but again, we're not the regulators here.
And how's your relationship with the Trump administration, and what kind of talks have you been having with them?
Good. I think they really care about AI infrastructure and building that out and seeing the U.S. succeed here, so it's been constructive.
To Mark Zuckerberg, has he started poaching some of your talent?
I have not, but I'm sure I'll see him this week. I'm looking forward.
What are you doing to retain your talent?
Having a great mission and really talented people, and trying to build a great research lab and a great company too.
You made some comments about feeling politically homeless. How do you feel about Elon Musk starting a new political party, and what is your statement?
I don't know. I haven't had a chance to read about it. It's like the America Party or something.
What does it mean that you said you feel politically homeless?
Oh, I mean, I was a Democrat for a long time, and I don't generally feel represented by the sort of mainstream Democrats anymore.
Why is that?
I think I said it kind of as clearly as I could. Like, I am a believer in technology and science and economic growth, and sort of, I think that I'm all for like offering great services, and I'm all for figuring out ways to make capitalism super inclusive. But I think part of the thing has got to be like, we drive the country towards very significant economic growth, and I think we should lead the world in that. And I would love a party that pushes for that, and also pushes for everything else I believe.
So could you donate to the American Party, perhaps?
I literally, other than those words, you just said everything I know about the party.
And what do you make of Elon's bust up with Trump? You must be finding that quite funny, watching from the sidelines.
Elon busts up with everybody. I mean, come on, like, this is what he does.
And how's your relationship with him?
How do you think? Yeah, I don't.
What are the topics you're most interested in talking about here today?
AI.
AI. And what is
I like AI.
What is your conversation going to be with the other leaders like Satya Nadella, and how's your relationship with Microsoft?
Relationship is great. We're going to talk about how we can build more computers, and man, the growth rate in this industry is like nothing I've ever seen, and trying to figure out how to support it with infrastructure is really hard.
Obviously, your business is AI, but is there a world in which you were eliminating some jobs as AI gets smarter and as people do things entirely?
Some jobs will go away for sure. Many jobs will just sort of transform in how they look, and then there will be huge categories of new jobs that are created. I mean, I think we can study recent technological revolutions, to say nothing of the ones from further away, about how this will go. But yeah, of course, some jobs will go away. There will be some new jobs.
Are you eliminating some jobs in your company because of AI and hiring in other sectors?
We're growing so fast that we just make people more efficient, and there's still like so much more to do. All right. I wish I had more to say.
Are you wearing smart glasses? Are these smart glasses?
Absolutely not. I don't like smart glasses.
No, can you give any hints about what your hardware is going to be about?
No, but it's going to be great.
Bueno, ¿qué os ha parecido? Tela, ¿no? Tela. Sin gafas a mano. Sí. Bueno, vamos a hacer la breve introducción que hacemos a todo el contenido y el canal de xHUB.AI. Estamos en xHUB.AI, no paramos, no vamos a parar, nunca hemos parado. Quinto año, dirige y presenta este canal vuestro amigo Plácido Doménech Espí. Vamos a tener programas con entrevistas y debates igual, ¿eh? Pero en verano decae porque la agenda, pero vamos a tener en verano varios programas xTalks ahí, debates. Es que al final es complicado, la gente está de vacaciones. Este programa es un programa de la comunidad de Inteligencia Artificial y Ciencias transversales de habla hispana xHUB.AI, quinto año de gran éxito y conocimiento. Gracias por apoyarnos y gracias por estar siempre ahí. Una audiencia fiel, lo he dicho muchas veces, es un caso muy curioso. No somos el canal más grande y tal, pero sí que es verdad, es que somos pocos pero muy buenos y muy fieles seguidores en ese sentido, y a mí eso me alegra mucho porque es lo que hace, ¿no? Que puedas tener una continuidad. Esto no es algo temporal ni oportunista de mi parte, pero sí es mucho trabajo, ¿no? Eso sí, y entonces lo importante para nosotros es que tenga visibilidad y trasladar impacto y trasladar también la voz o voces que puede ser que no la tengan o que la tengan y que tengan más visibilidad y llegada a la gente gracias a nosotros y a xHUB.AI, la comunidad, ¿no? Este programa está viéndose a través de X, YouTube, LinkedIn, Rumble, Kik y Twitch. Ya sabéis que Meta, pues con esto de que tienes que ceder los datos y tal, ya era lo que me faltaba. Así que ni Meta ni Facebook. Bye, bye. Ojalá pronto tengamos una plataforma independiente. No va a ser rápido, pero estoy pensando que es el objetivo, para no depender tanto de estas grandes plataformas. Pero bueno, o no voy a ser tan rollero como está este mediodía, porque va a ser larga la presentación y también algunos análisis, datos y nos lo vamos a dejar para el final. Si os gusta el canal, pues poned me gusta, compartid, comentad, suscribíos. Como he dicho antes también, el podcast, al final no hace falta que os suscribáis y no os hagáis fans, porque van a ser todos los programas gratuitos. Sí que os tenéis que suscribir, porque eso sí que está muy bien, pero ya no hace falta que paguéis porque va a ser todo gratis. Al final era más el problema que lo que se aportaba y bueno, agradezco a la gente que haya aportado desde el principio o que haya sido un mes también, pero bueno. Todo gratuito, no vale la pena una guerra en podcast, en la plataforma iVoox, que poco podemos hacer y no vamos a estar luchando contra algo que no podemos... bueno, no sé, es que no sé cómo funciona. Entonces llega un momento que me da igual. A ver, he tirado un poco en ese sentido la toalla y la gente nos sigue escuchando igual. Me da igual estar primero, que décimo, que tener 6.000, que 1.000. Mientras las audiencias se mantengan, bueno, me da igual. Entonces, bueno, hemos tirado un poco la toalla en ese sentido, así que a otra cosa. Si queréis uniros al Discord de la comunidad de xHUB.AI, que es muy interesante, pues podéis enviarnos me puedes enviar un mensaje directo o un correo. Y si no, bueno, a veces se me olvida, pero voy a publicar aquí. Voy a publicar aquí en el directo el enlace para quien no esté. Tenéis que estar. Y si queréis apoyarnos económicamente, pues podéis hacerlo a través de Buy Me a Coffee o a través de PayPal, ¿vale? En estas direcciones. Y bueno, también podéis enviarnos un super chat. Ahora un café no, pero bueno, un bocadillo para luego. Pero bueno, lo que veáis, no hay problema. Y si no, pues disfrutad del contenido y ya está. Y pronto estaremos en Patreon para que podáis apoyarnos económicamente. Pero bueno, la idea es verdad que lo que más me ronda por la cabeza es tener nuestra propia plataforma. Lo que pasa es que es complicado. Y mañana grabo en Madrid, en el canal Inversión Racional, la segunda entrevista, la ronda 2. Si no habéis visto la ronda 1 o la primera intervención mía, que tuvo casi 300.000 reproducciones, una de las charlas más vistas del canal, también de las más vistas respecto a inteligencia artificial. La verdad es que fue una bomba. No sé si superaremos las expectativas. Viendo de qué vamos a hablar, yo creo que la charla va a estar muy bien. Y bueno, siempre esperemos superar esa audiencia, sobre todo porque la gente reflexione, tome conciencia, pase a la acción, entienda la importancia de todo lo que está sucediendo, ¿no? Y bueno, también sold out. Bueno, he puesto aquí últimas entradas, pero ya se han vendido todas. Quedaba una. Quedaba una. Dice, quedan una. Pero queda una, se ha acabado. De todas formas, es un evento que es el miércoles de 11 a 2 en Puntapiedra, Alicante, organizado con la Cámara de Comercio de Alicante. Y bueno, estará bien, hablaremos de xBITE.AI, reinventando los negocios con inteligencia. Es una charla mía, solo yo. Pero bueno, mis charlas suelen tener mucho éxito y bueno, también es importante porque la gente que quiera verme o aprender sobre todo el mundo de xBITE.AI desde un punto de vista de visión, pero también evidentemente de negocio y también práctico. Al final es una mezcla de, sabéis, un poco mi estilo, ¿no? No sé si pero tampoco... Pero veremos algunas cosas a nivel práctico, pero bueno, no vamos a ponernos a programar, pero sí que veremos todas las opciones que hay. Pues, 3 horas, pues a lo mejor se queda corto, pero bueno, ya con 3 horas está bien. Y luego quien se pueda acercar, pues imaginas, pues en Alicante en verano, pues nada, pues está, vamos, ideal para pasar un día, el fin de semana, lo que queráis. ¿Qué más? Bueno, vamos a ver la charla. Es que estaba buscándola en YouTube, no la he encontrado. A ver, la he visto en varios canales, pero vamos a ver la charla desde X. Entonces, ahí no hay subtítulos, creo. Así que lo siento por la gente, pero... Pues nada. Bueno, llegaron tarde. En principio... Vamos a quitar el audio hasta que empiece. Bueno, si no empieza lo avanzamos y ya está. A ver. Empezaron tarde. Madre mía, esto aquí.
Bolder. It sees beyond the horizon. In a world where knowledge shapes destiny, one creation dares to redefine the future. From the minds at xAI, prepare for Grok 4. This summer, the next generation arrives. Faster, smarter, bolder. It sees beyond the horizon, answers the unasked, and challenges the impossible. Grok 4, Unleash the Truth, coming this summer.
All right, welcome to the Grok 4 release here. This is the smartest AI in the world, and we're going to show you exactly how and why. It really is remarkable to see the advancement of artificial intelligence, how quickly it is evolving. I sometimes compare it to the growth of a human and how fast a human learns and gains conscious awareness and understanding. And AI is advancing just vastly faster than any human. I mean, we're going to take you through a bunch of benchmarks.
Curioso que esté comparando, ¿no? Interesante, fijaros lo que acaba de decir, la evolución de la inteligencia artificial imparable con esa velocidad, evolución tecnológica, no equiparable a la biológica. Y claro, si equiparamos las capacidades en cuanto a una IA y cómo evolucionan respecto a un humano, pues no podemos competir, ¿no? A no ser que nos hibridemos, eso es otro tema. Pero fijaos que dice que al final lleva a las IAs y ha empezado al revés, ¿no? Por ser consciente, conciencia y comprensión, inteligencia, ¿no? Es decir, un poco al revés. Es decir, obviamente ese va a ser el camino y ha empezado una presentación tan importante como Grok 4 haciendo esa analogía entre evolución humana y evolución de la IA.
That Grok 4 is able to achieve incredible numbers on. But it's actually worth noting that Grok 4, if given like the SAT, would get perfect SATs every time, even if it's never seen the questions before. And if even going beyond that to say like graduate student exams like the GRE, it will get near perfect results in every discipline of education. So from the humanities to like languages, math, physics, engineering, pick anything, and we're talking about questions that it's never seen before. These are not on the internet, and Grok 4 is smarter than almost all graduate students in all disciplines simultaneously.
Sí, es decir, es tan listo como cualquier graduado humano en cualquier disciplina. Ya no solo, como he dicho, matemáticas, física y química, pero en definitiva estamos hablando de un nivel de conocimiento en todas las áreas del conocimiento, en una única entidad, evidentemente. No necesitamos expertos separados, sino tenemos una entidad, una inteligencia artificial capaz de abordar ese nivel humano o sobrehumano en todas las disciplinas, ¿no? Y evidentemente eso será una evolución que no parará. Claro que esa afirmación podríamos rascar ahí, pero bueno, no vamos ahora a debatir si tiene razón, si no, si... Bueno, vamos a ver lo que dice y explicarlo un poquito.
Like, it's actually just important to appreciate like, that's really something. And the reasoning capabilities of Grok are incredible. So there's some people out there who think AI can't reason, and look, it can reason at superhuman levels. So, yeah, and frankly, it only gets better from here. So we'll take you through the Grok 4 release, and yeah, show you like the pace of progress here. Like, I guess the first part is like, in terms of the training, we're going from Grok 2 to Grok 3 to Grok 4. We've essentially increased the training by an order of magnitude in each case. So it's 100 times more training than Grok 2, and that's only going to increase. So it's yeah, frankly, I mean, I don't know, in some ways a little terrifying, but the growth of intelligence here is remarkable.
Yes. It's important to realize there are two types of training compute. One is the pre-training compute, that's from Grok 2 to Grok 3. But from Grok 3 to Grok 4.
Importante la importancia y el aumento en capacidad de cómputo con aprendizaje por refuerzo. Una gran diferencia en cuanto a la técnica de reasoning y de entrenamiento que existe y que ha proporcionado a Grok 4 ese gran salto, ¿no?, respecto a las otras versiones.
We're actually putting a lot of compute in reasoning in RL.
Yeah, and just like you said, this is literally the fastest moving field, and Grok 2 is like the high school student by today's standard. If we look back in the last 12 months, Grok 2 was only a concept. We didn't even have Grok 2 12 months ago.
Es que eso es cierto, imaginaos la velocidad que han desarrollado esto, ¿eh? Dice, 12 meses antes era casi un concepto, ¿no? ¿Será capaz de xAI o xAI de mantener este nivel de crecimiento que viene alineado a su capacidad de cómputo, ¿no? Esos data centers Colossus y esa ingente cantidad de tarjetas GPU, NVIDIA, H100, y bueno, entiendo que vendrán las siguientes versiones. Se pretende llegar al 1.000.000 de tarjetas de GPUs, imagina.
Grok 2, that was the first time we scale up like the pre-training. We realized that if you actually do the data ablation really carefully, and the infra, and also the algorithm, we can actually push the pre-training quite a lot by amount of 10x to make the model the best pre-trained base model. And that's why we built Colossus, the world's supercomputer with 100,000 H100. And then with the best pre-trained model, and we realized if you can collect these verifiable outcome reward, you can actually train this model to start thinking from the first principle, start to reason, correct its own mistakes. And that's where the Grok 3 reasoning comes from. And today we ask the question, what happens if you take the expansion of the Colossus with all 200,000 GPUs, put all these into RL, 10x more compute than any of the models out there on reinforcement learning, unprecedented scale, what's going to happen? So this is the story of Grok 4, and Tony, share some insight with the audience.
Bueno, una de las cosas, ¿no? El aprendizaje por refuerzo, clave en la evolución del modelo Grok. Me acuerdo cuando algunos expertos, bueno, algunos muy reconocidos aquí en España, y casi que diría algunos número uno, no voy a decir nombres de quién es, pero vamos, me acuerdo que decía que, vamos, que el aprendizaje por refuerzo no le encontraba utilidad. Como no me hablo con él, pues no pasa nada. No vamos a tener debates. Y bueno, pasan al Humanities Last Exam, ¿no?, que es ese examen, una de las pruebas más duras en cuanto a benchmarks. Pues bueno, vamos a ver qué ha pasado, qué nivel saca o qué benchmark ha sacado Grok 4 en el Humanity Last Exam.
Yeah. So yeah, let's just talk about how smart Grok 4 is. So I guess we can start discussing this benchmark called Humanities Last Exam. And this benchmark is a very, very challenging benchmark. every single problem is curated by subject matter experts. It's in total 2,500 problems, and it consists of many different subjects: mathematics, natural sciences, engineering, and also all the humanities subjects. So,
un 40% en matemáticas. No sé si influirá en el tema de las tools, luego lo veremos, ¿no? Pero un 40% en matemáticas. Wow.
It's actually when it was first released, actually like earlier this year, most of the models out there can only get single-digit accuracy on this benchmark. Yeah, so we can look at some of those examples. So there is this mathematical problem, which is about natural transformations in category theory. And there's this organic chemistry problem that talks about electrocyclic reactions. And also there's this linguistic problem that tries to ask you about distinguishing between closed and open syllabus from a Hebrew source text. So you can see also it's a very wide range of problems. And every single problem is PhD or even advanced research level problems.
Yeah, I mean, there are no humans that can actually answer these, can get a good score. I mean, if you actually say, like, any given human, what's the best that any human could score? I mean, I'd say maybe 5% optimistically.
Yeah.
So this is much harder than what any human can do. It's incredibly difficult. And you can see from the types of questions. Like, you might be incredible in linguistics or mathematics or chemistry or physics or any one of a number of subjects, but you're not going to be at a postgrad level in everything. And Grok 4 is a postgrad level in everything. Like, it's just, some of these things are just worth repeating.
A ver, esta reflexión que hace, que es muy simple, pero nos tiene que ayudar a contextualizar a qué nos estamos enfrentando. Es decir, estos niveles de benchmarks en el Humans Last Exam, en definitiva, no sería alcanzado por ningún humano, dice, un 5%. Pero el problema no es eso, el problema es los niveles más allá de lo humano, pero además es que integra todas las disciplinas. ¿Qué quiere decir esto? Que nosotros no vamos a poder competir de forma general con las IAs, pero ya. Bueno, en ámbitos especializados sí. Evidentemente hay cosas que se tienen que llevar a la práctica y a la experiencia, no solo a la modelización, eso lo comentamos en Saturn, lo comenta también. Pero es un paradigma que tenemos que entender y es, tenemos algo ya que nos tiene que ayudar a avanzar y ser mejores, pero que ya hemos sido superados. Y esto es Grok 4, al año que viene será Grok 5 y estamos hablando de muy poco tiempo, grandes evoluciones. Pensad, creo que lo han entrenado con 200.000 GPUs o 100.000, no sé en qué fase lo han entrenado, pero bueno, ya estaban activas las 200.000. Pero quieren seguir creciendo en diferentes fases hasta el 1.000.000 de GPUs. Imagina la capacidad de cómputo. Si no hay pared y además combinan determinadas técnicas que ahora luego comentarán, ¿no? Aquí lo han invertido mucho en capacidad de cómputo en cuanto a aprendizaje por refuerzo, que digo, Eduardo César Garrido lo dice, ¿no? A ver, sería interesante ver algún paper técnico de qué han utilizado, ¿no? Pero están escalando el aprendizaje por refuerzo, como hizo DeepSeek, y les está dando ganancia cualitativamente. Aún podemos tener ese debate que no son inteligentes, que no razonan, que no piensan. Haré luego referencia a un paper de Jürgen Smith-Huber que toca esta parte. Lo voy a anotar aquí. Lo comentaré al final. No quiero verlo ahora, pero toca el análisis de si el LLM o el modelo de IA realmente razona o no en este tema. Y bueno, ya sabéis que Jürgen Smith-Huber, uno de los grandes maestros de la IA, ¿no?
Like, Grok 4 is postgraduate, like PhD level in everything. Better than PhD, but like most PhDs would fail. So it's better that said, I mean, at least with respect to academic questions, I want to just emphasize this point. With respect to academic questions, Grok 4 is better than PhD level in every subject, no exceptions. Now, this doesn't mean that at times it may lack common sense, and it has not yet invented new technologies or discovered new physics, but that is just a matter of time. I think it may discover new technologies as soon as later this year, and I would be shocked if it has not done so next year. So I would expect Grok.
Bueno, aquí es una de las cosas que afirma. Estamos hablando de, no creo que sea más, bueno, una parte de marketing, pero empezar aquí con la crítica del marketing, ahorrároslo. Dice que evidentemente está a unos niveles excepcionales y que esto va a seguir evolucionando, y lo lógico es que se aplique en el desarrollo pues, de nuevo conocimiento, ¿no? Esa fase 4 o 5 creo que era de los investors en OpenAI, pues aquí es igual, es decir, la IA va a llegar a un punto en que lo vamos a aplicar a descubrir nuevas leyes de la física, nueva ciencia, nueva investigación, no solo a lo mejor a explicar o resolver un problema concreto, sino explorar, ¿no? Nuevo conocimiento. Crear nueva tecnología, crear nuevas soluciones, crear soluciones a una velocidad y con una capacidad por encima del humano. ¿Y eso qué significa? Disponer de una ciencia y capacidad de conocimiento y de crear soluciones que nos permiten crear, imaginar y soñar un nuevo proyecto civilizatorio impulsado por una ciencia sostenible y sostenida por superinteligencias o modelos de IA avanzados.
To, literally discover new technologies that are actually useful no later than next year and maybe end of this year. And it might discover new physics next year. And within 2 years, I'd say almost certainly. So just let that sink in.
Y en definitiva dice que esto tiene que ocurrir o a final de año, o bueno, ya se pegaría un tiro si no ocurre el año que viene. Es decir, que ese paradigma, otro más lejos aún, pues lo tenemos este mismo año o incluso el año que viene. Y bueno, hay que ver también las otras grandes Big Techs que hacen o que dicen, ¿no? Están muy sonrientes. La verdad es que creo que es cara de felicidad y satisfacción del equipo de xAI con el trabajo realizado, ¿no?
Yeah.
So yeah, okay, so I guess we can talk about what's behind the scene of Grok 4. As Jimmy mentioned, we actually throwing a lot of compute into this training. You know, when it started, it's only also a single digit. Sorry, the previous slide. Sorry. Yeah, it's only a single digit number. But as you start putting in more and more training compute, it started to gradually become smarter and smarter, and eventually solved a quarter of the HLE problems. And this is without any tools. The next thing we did was to adding tools capabilities to the model. And unlike Grok 3, I think Grok 3 actually is able to use CRU as well, but here we actually make it more native in the sense that we put the tools into training. Grok 3 was only relying on generalization. Here, we actually put the tools into training. And it turns out this significantly improves the model's capability of using those tools.
Yeah, I remember we had like.
Esto es importante, ¿eh? Esto es importante.
Yeah.
So how is this different?
Yeah, exactly. So deep search was exactly the Grok 3 reasoning model, but without any specific training, but we only asked it to use those tools. So compared to this, it was much weaker in terms of its tool capabilities.
And unreliable. Yeah.
And unreliable, right. Yes.
And to be clear, like these are still, I'd say, this is still fairly primitive tool use. If you compare it to, say, the tools that are used at Tesla or SpaceX, where you're using, finite element analysis and computational fluid dynamics, and you're able to run, or say like Tesla does, like crash simulations, where the simulations are so close to reality that if the test doesn't match the simulation, you assume that the test article is wrong. That's how good the simulations are. So Grok is not currently using any of the tools, the really powerful tools that a company would use, but that is something that we will provide it with later this year. So we'll have the tools that a company has, and have very accurate physics simulator. Ultimately, the thing that'll make the biggest difference is being able to interact with the real world via humanoid robots. So you combine sort of Grok with Optimus, and it can actually interact with the real world and figure out if it can formulate an hypothesis and then confirm if that hypothesis is true or not. So we're really, think about like where we are today. We're at the beginning of an immense intelligence explosion. We're in the intelligence Big Bang right now, and we're at the most interesting time to be alive of any time in history. Yeah. Now that said, we need to make sure that the AI is a good AI, good Grok. And the thing that I think is most important for AI safety, at least my biological neural net tells me, the most important thing for AI is to be maximally truth-seeking. So this is a very fundamental. Like you can think of AI as this super genius child that ultimately will outsmart you, but you can still instill the right values and encourage it to be sort of, truthful, honorable, good things like the values you want to instill in a child that would ultimately grow up to be incredibly powerful. Yeah. So.
Bueno, extraño Elon Musk, ¿no? Bueno, ha dicho cosas importantes. Dice que en el futuro esperan que a final de año han hecho el entrenamiento con el uso han incorporado ese uso de las tools en el propio entrenamiento. Ya Grok 3 lo tenía, pero aquí han avanzado aún más, lo tiene de forma nativa y han entrenado justamente con eso. Y dice que lo que quieren conseguir es que lo que es el test o simulación, el test o simulación que pueda hacer la inteligencia artificial sea igual a la propia realidad, es decir, que la diferencia sea poca o mínima o cada vez menor para llegar a un momento en que la simulación que él pueda realizar se aproxime a la realidad. Y esto dice que lo van a conseguir y potenciar con el uso de herramientas que tienen empresas y que lo unirían a la IA para poder hacer ese desarrollo y explosión de inteligencia y sobre todo en el tema de la ciencia, ¿no? Y esta misma idea de la simulación siendo muy próxima a la realidad es lo que se vería también en el tema de la robótica, ¿no? Es algo comentado por Sutton en ese paper y David Silver de DeepMind en ese paper de la era de la experiencia, donde obviamente los agentes o los robots autónomos podrían hacer sus propias hipótesis y tomar decisiones respecto al resultado de esas hipótesis, con lo que cuanto más cerca estuviera la hipótesis de la realidad, más efectivos serían en la toma de decisiones. Y también ha dicho que, que lo importante, aquí se ha enganchado, no sé, aquí se ha quedado un poco ambiguo, ¿no? Que lo que importante es que sea una buena inteligencia artificial, que sea un buen Grok, que sea esto sí que me ha gustado, ¿no? Bueno, que es fácil, que lo que hay que hacer es introducirle valores positivos, pero lo importante sobre todo también es la búsqueda truth seeking, ¿no? La búsqueda de verdad, ¿no? Qué importante es ese mensaje. Bueno, tenemos una IA que es un genio, pero ¿cuál es el mensaje para la humanidad, para la sociedad? La búsqueda de verdad. Y también crear un mundo mejor alrededor de ese progreso que se va a generar, ¿no? Obvio, para todos.
Yeah, so this is really, I'd say, we say tools, these are still primitive tools, not the kind of tools that serious commercial companies use. But we will provide it with those tools, and I think it will be able to solve, with those tools, real-world technology problems. In fact, I'm certain of it. It's just a question of how long it takes.
Yes, exactly.
So is it just compute all you need, Tony?
Sorry?
Is it just compute all you need at this point?
Well, you need compute plus the right tools, and then ultimately to be able to interact with the physical world.
Yes.
And then, I mean, we'll effectively have an economy that is, well, ultimately an economy that is thousands of times bigger than our current economy, or maybe millions of times. I mean, if you think of civilization as percentage completion of the Kardashev scale, where Kardashev 1 is using all the energy output of a planet, and Kardashev 2 is using all the energy output of a sun, and 3 is all the energy output of a galaxy, we're only, in my opinion, probably like closer to 1% of Kardashev 1 than we are to 10%. So like maybe a point or 1 or 2% of Kardashev 1. So we will get to most of the way, like 80-90% Kardashev 1, and then hopefully, if civilization doesn't self-annihilate, and then Kardashev 2, like it's the actual notion of a human economy, assuming civilization continues to progress, will seem very quaint in retrospect. It will seem like sort of cavemen throwing sticks into a fire level of economy compared to what the future will hold. I mean, it's very exciting. I mean, I've been at times kind of worried about, like, well, you know, is this seems like it's somewhat unnerving to have intelligence created that is far greater than our own. And will this be bad or good for humanity? It's like, I think it'll be good. Most likely it'll be good. Yeah. Yeah. But I somewhat reconciled myself to the fact that even if it wasn't going to be good, I'd at least like to be alive to see it happen. So, you know.
So, actually, one yeah, I think one technical problem that we still need to solve, besides just compute, is how do we unblock the data bottleneck? Because when we try to scale up the RL, in this case, we did invent a lot of new techniques, innovations, to allow us to figure out how to find a lot of challenging RL problems to work on. It's not just the problem itself needs to be challenging, but also it needs to be, you also need to have like a reliable signal to tell the model, you did it wrong, you did it right. This is the sort of the principle of reinforcement learning. And as the model gets smarter and smarter, the number of cool problems or challenging problems will be less and less.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a new type of challenge that we need to surpass besides just compute. Yeah.
Yeah, we actually are running out of actual test questions to ask. So there's like even questions that are ridiculously hard, if not essentially impossible for humans, that are written down questions are swiftly becoming trivial for AI. So then there's, but you know, the one thing that is an excellent judge of things is reality. So, because physics is the law, ultimately, everything else is a recommendation. You can't break physics. So the ultimate test, I think, for whether an AI is, the ultimate reasoning test is reality.
Yes.
So you invent a new technology, like say, improve the design of a car or a rocket, or create a new medication that, and does it work?
Yeah.
Does the rocket get to orbit? Does the car drive? Does the medicine work? Whatever the case may be, reality is the ultimate judge here. So it's going to be reinforcement learning, closing the loop around reality.
We asked the question, how do we even go further? So actually, we are thinking about now, with single agent, we're able to solve 40% of a problem. What if we have multiple agents running at the same time? So this is what's called test and compute. And as we scale up the test and compute, actually, we are able to solve almost more than 50% of the text-only subset of the HLE problems. So it's a remarkable achievement, I think. Yeah.
This is insanely difficult. These are so what we're saying is like a majority of the text-based of humanities, you know, scarily named humanities last exam, Grok 4 can solve. And you can try it out for yourself. And with the Grok 4 Heavy, what it does is it spawns multiple agents in parallel, and all of those agents do work independently, and then they compare their work, and they decide which one, it's like a study group. And it's not as simple as majority vote, because often only one of the agents actually figures out the trick, or figures out the solution. But once they share the trick or figure out what the real nature of the problem is, they share that solution with the other agents, and then they essentially compare notes, and then yield an answer. Yeah. So that's the heavy part of Grok 4, is where you scale up the test time compute by roughly an order of magnitude, have multiple agents tackle the task, and then they compare their work, and they put forward what they think is the best result.
Está aquí hablando de la opción que luego se va a poder contratar. Va a salir cara esa opción, pero la posibilidad de que Grok 4 actúe como multiagente. De tal manera que cuando pidamos algo, un mismo problema de forma paralela, los mismos agentes estén como si fuera un grupo de estudio, intercambiando la información, los resultados, iterando. Y eso proporciona otro punto de escala con unos resultados también sorprendentes. Y nos vamos a poner a frotar las manos con la aplicación a código, a desarrollo de código, porque ya lo venimos diciendo, el desarrollo de código ni siquiera es lo que vamos a ver de bytecoding a ese nivel, ni siquiera, no significa que no vamos a seguir programando de la otra manera, pero vamos a tener un monstruo al lado en desarrollo para poder desarrollar a otro nivel.
Yeah, so we will introduce Grok 4 and Grok 4 Heavy. Sorry, can you click the next slide?
Sure.
Yeah. Yes. So basically, Grok 4 is a single.
Grok 4 Heavy es el multiagente.
A single agent version, and Grok 4 Heavy is the multi-agent version. So let's take a look how they actually do on those exam problems and also some real life problems.
Yeah. So we're going to start out here, and we're actually going to look at one of those HLE problems. This is actually one of the easier math ones. I don't really understand it very well. I'm not that smart, but I can launch this job here, and we can actually see how it's going to go through and start to think about this problem. While we're doing that, I also want to show a little bit more about what this model can do and launch a Grok 4 Heavy as well. So everyone knows Polymarket. It's extremely interesting. It's the seeker of truth. It aligns with what reality is most of the time. And with Grok, what we're actually looking at is being able to see how we can try to take these markets and see if we can predict the future as well. So as we're letting this run, we'll see how Grok 4 Heavy goes about predicting the World Series odds for the current teams in the MLB. And while we're waiting for these to process, we're going to pass it over to Eric, and he's going to show you an example of his.
Yeah. So I guess one of the coolest things about Grok 4 is its ability to understand the world and to solve hard problems by leveraging tools like Tony discussed. And I think one kind of cool example of this, we asked it to generate a visualization of two black holes colliding. And of course, it took there are some liberties. It's in many cases actually pretty clear in its thinking trace about what these liberties are. For example, in order for it to actually be visible, you need to really exaggerate the scale of the waves. And yeah, so here's this kind of in action. It exaggerates the scale in multiple ways. It drops off a bit less in terms of amplitude over distance, and but yeah, we can kind of see the basic effects that are actually correct. It starts with the in spiral, it merges, and then you have the ring down, and this is basically largely correct. Modulo some of the simplifications that need to do. It's actually quite explicit about this. It uses post-Newtonian approximations instead of actually like computing the general relativistic effects at like near the center of the black hole, which is incorrect, and will lead to some incorrect results. But the overall visualization is is basically there, and you can actually look at the kinds of resources that it references. So here it actually it obviously uses search. It gathers results from a bunch of links, but also reads through a undergraduate text in analytic gravitational wave models. It reasons quite a bit about the actual constants that it should use for a realistic simulation. It references, I guess, existing real-world data, and it's a pretty good model.
Qué locura.
But like actually going forward, we can give it the same model that physicists use, so it can run the same level of compute that so leading physics researchers are using, and give you a physics accurate black hole simulation.
Exactly.
Just right now it's running in your browser, so.
Yeah, this is just running in your browser.
Yeah,
exactly. Pretty simple.
So swapping back real quick here, we can actually take a look. The math problem is finished. The model was able to, let's look at its thinking trace here, so you can see how it went through the problem. I'll be honest with you guys, I really don't quite fully understand the math, but what I do know is that I looked at the answer ahead of time, and it did come to the correct answer here in the final part here. We can also come in and actually take a look here at our World Series prediction, and it's still thinking through on this one. But we can actually try some other stuff as well. So we can actually like try some of the X integrations that we did. So we worked very heavily on working with all of our X tools and building out a really great X experience. So we can actually ask, the model, find me the xAI employee that has the weirdest profile photo. So that's going to go off and start that, and then we can actually try out, let's create a timeline based on X post detailing the changes in the scores over time, and we can see all the conversation that was taking place at that time as well. So we can see who are the announcing scores and like what was the reactions at those times as well. So we'll let that go through here and process. And if we go back to this was the Greg Yang photo here. So if we scroll through here, whoops. So Greg Yang, of course, who has his favorite photograph that he has on his account. That's actually not how he looks like in real life, by the way, just so you're aware, but it is quite funny.
But it had to understand that question.
Yeah.
Which is that's the wild part. It's like it understands what is a weird photo. What is a weird photo?
Yeah.
What is a less or more weird photo?
It goes through, it has to find all the team members, has to figure out who we all are. It,
right.
Searches
this
X.
Is without access to the internal xAI personnel logs. No. It's literally looking at just at the internet.
Exactly.
So you could say like the weirdest of any company.
Yeah.
To be clear.
Exactly. And we can also take a look here at the question here for the humanities last exam. So it is still researching all of the historical scores, but it will have that final answer here soon. But we can, while it's finishing up, we can take a look at one of the ones that we set up here a second ago. And we can see like, it finds the date that like Dan Hendricks had initially announced it. We can go through, we can see, OpenAI announcing their score back in February. And we can see, as progress happens with like Gemini, we can see like Kimi, and we can also even see, the leaked benchmarks of what people are saying is, if it's right, it's going to be pretty impressive. So pretty cool. So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing how everybody uses these tools and gets the most value out of them. Yeah, it's been great.
Yeah, and we're going to close the loop around usefulness as well. So it's like it's not just book smart, but actually practically smart.
Exactly. And we can go back to the slides here, yeah. So.
Cool. So we actually evaluate also on the multimodal subset. So on the full set, this is the number on the HLE exam. You can see there's a little dip on the numbers. This is actually something we're improving on, which is the multimodal understanding capabilities. But I do believe in a very short time, we're able to really improve and got much higher numbers on this, even higher numbers on this benchmark. Yeah.
Yeah, this is we still like what is the biggest weakness of Grok currently is that it's sort of partially blind. It can't, its image understanding, obviously, and its image generation needs to be a lot better, and that's actually being trained right now. So Grok 4 is based on version 6 of our foundation model, and we are training version 7, which will complete in a few weeks, and that'll address the weakness on the vision side.
Just to show off this last here, so the prediction market finished here with a heavy, and we can see here, we can see all the tools and the process it used to actually go through and find the right answer. So it browsed a lot of odds sites, it calculated its own odds comparing to the market to find its own alpha and edge. It walks you through the entire process here, and it calculates the odds of the winner being like the Dodgers, and it gives them a 21.6% chance of winning this year. So, and it took approximately 4.5 minutes to compute.
Yeah, that's a lot of thinking.
Yeah.
We can also look at all the other benchmarks besides HLE. As it turned out, Grok 4 excelled on all the reasoning benchmarks that people usually test on, including GBQA, which is a PhD level problem sets. That's easier compared to HLE. On AMY 25, American Invitation Mathematics exam, with Grok 4 Heavy, we actually got a perfect score. Also on some of the coding benchmark called Live Coding Bench, and also on HMMT, Harvard MIT exam, and also USAMO. You can see actually on all of those benchmarks, we often have a very large leap against the second best model out there.
Yeah, I mean, really, we're going to get to the point where it's going to get every answer right in every exam. And where it doesn't get an answer right, it's going to tell you what's wrong with the question. Or if the question is ambiguous, disambiguate the question into answers A, B, and C and tell you what answers A, B, and C would be with a disambiguated question. So the only real test then will be reality. Can it make useful technologies, discover new science? That'll actually be the only thing left, because human tests will simply not be meaningful.
Yeah, we need to make an update to HLE very soon, given the current rate of progress. So yeah, it's super cool to see like multiple agents that collaborate with each other, solving really challenging problems. So where can we try this model? So it turned out it's available right now. If we advance to the next slide, where there is a super Grok Heavy tiers that we introduced.
A preparar 300 euros.
To both Grok 4 and Grok 4 Heavy. Where you're actually going to be the taskmaster of a bunch of little Grok research agents to help you, become smarter, do all the little research, and save hours of times of, going through mundane tasks. And it's available right now. So, yeah.
So we did limit usage during the demo, so it didn't break the demo, because all this stuff is happening live. So there's nothing canned about any of the tests that we're doing. So after the demo is done, we'll enable more subscribers for SuperGrok. So if you can't subscribe right now, just try in half an hour. It should work. And now let's get into voice.
Great, Abby. So many of you have been enjoying our voice mode, and we've been working hard to improve the experience over the past couple months. We have cut latency in half to make it much snappier. And today we're excited to announce a set of new voices that have exceptional naturalness and prosody. You might have noticed the movie trailer voice that opened up the live stream. That is one of our new voices, Sal, who's got that epically deep tone. And we're also excited to introduce Eve, a beautiful British voice who's capable of rich emotions. Aman, would you like to introduce Eve?
Absolutely. Yeah, let's get into the demo. Hey, Eve, millions of people are watching us right now. Are you excited?
Oh, I'm thrilled, really. It's like being on stage at the Old Vic with a sea of faces out there. Just imagine all those eyes and ears tuned in. It's a proper buzz, isn't it? What do you reckon we should chat about to keep this lot entertained?
You know, we have a lot to talk about, but I'll be honest, I'm feeling a little nervous. Can you whisper something soothing to calm me down?
Take a deep breath, love. You've got this. It's just you and me, having a quiet chat, like we're tucked away in a cozy corner of a Yorkshire pub. The world's just a murmur out there. Feel that calm wash over you. Let's keep talking, nice and easy. What's on your mind?
You know what? I'm actually feeling quite relaxed to try this something crazy. So can you give us an opera on Diet Coke?
Oh, an opera on Diet Coke. That's a riot. Picture this, a shimmering silver can, glistening under stage lights. Oh, Diet Coke, thou elixir divine, with bubbles that dance in a sparkling line. Thy crisp, cool kiss on lips so fine. Oh, aspartame, ambrosia, forever mine.
Qué tela.
How's that for a mad little aria?
Do you need to?
Want me to belt out another verse or switch up the tune?
Okay, let's try switching it up and just start singing.
Right then, let's have a go. Oh, silver can, you gleam in the light. Diet Coke, my heart's delight.
Okay, I won't touch it. It's very, very poetic. Yeah, thank you, Eve. Feeling quite nice now.
Cool. So
Impresionante.
that's Eve.
Muy bueno.
And so something else we do here is a little test each day to check on the natural flow of our conversations against some of our competitors. So we figured why not try that live on the stream today.
Should I start? Hey, I'm going to say a number, and can you say the same number back to me? 1.
1, got it. This is like a fun little game of echo. What's next?
2. Sorry, I said 2. 3.
3. 4, nice and steady. What's next?
5.
5, nailed it. This is pretty fun, actually. Feel free to keep going or switch it up if you'd like.
Hey, Grok. Hey, Grok.
Hello there. How can I help you today?
We're going to do a little test. Can you repeat after me? 1.
1. All right. What's next?
2.
2. What's on your mind?
3.
3. Need anything else?
4.
4. How can I assist you?
5.
5. What's next?
So as you can see,
Menudo
Grok
troleo
was,
a OpenAI.
snappier, didn't interrupt me.
Menudo troleo le acaban de hacer a OpenAI. Menudo troleo. El modelo de voz brutal. Me gustaría ver, bueno, evidentemente en castellano no lo van a poner, en español, pero impresionante, impresionante.
And the prosody is we've made different design choices. I think we were shooting for something more calm, smooth, more natural, versus something that's more poppy or artificial. So we'll keep improving on these fronts.
All right, thanks, guys.
Yeah.
Yep. So since the launch of the voice model, we actually see the 2x faster end-to-end latency in the last 8 weeks, 5 different voices, and also 10x the active user. So Grok Voice is taking off. Now, if you think about releasing the models, this time we're also releasing Grok 4 through the API at the same time. So if we go to the next 2 slides, so we're very excited about what all developers out there is going to build. So if I think about myself as a developer, what the first thing I'm going to do when I actually have access to the Grok 4 API? Benchmarks. So we actually ask around on the X platform, what is the most challenging benchmarks out there that is considered the holy grail for all the AGI models? So turn out AGI is in the name, ArcAGI. So the last 12 hours, kudos to Greg over here in the audience. So who answered our call, take a preview of the Grok 4 API, and independently verified, the Grok 4's performance. So initially we thought, hey, Grok 4 is just, we think it's pretty good, it's pretty smart. It's our next-gen reasoning model, spend 10x more compute, can use all the tools, right? But turned out, when we actually verify on the private subset of the RKGI v2, it was like the only model in the last 3 months that breaks the 10% barrier. And in fact, it was so good that actually get to 16%, well, 15.8% accuracy, 2x of the second place, that is the Cloud 4 Opus model. And it's not just about performance, right? When you think about intelligence, having an API model drives your automation. It's also the intelligence per dollar, right? If you look at the plots over here, the Grok is just 4 is just in the league of its own. All right, so enough of benchmarks over here, right? So what can Grok do actually in the real world? So we actually contacted the folks from Enden Labs who were gracious enough to try the Grok in the real world to run a business.
Yeah, thanks for having us. So I'm Axel from Enden Labs.
And I'm Lucas, and we tested Grok 4 on Vending Bench. Vending Bench is an AI simulation of a business scenario where we thought, what is the most simple business an AI could possibly run? And we thought vending machines. So in this scenario, the Grok and other models need to do stuff like manage inventory, contact suppliers, set prices. All of these things are super easy, and all the models can do them one by one. But when you do them over very long horizons, most models struggle. But we have a leaderboard, and there's a new number 1.
Yeah, so we got early access to the Grok 4 API.
Me agrada. Están hablando del benchmark, que es una máquina de vending, estas de tirar dinero y extraer lo que quieres y ver qué capacidad tiene de vender, controlar stock, contactar con los proveedores. Y normalmente había una degradación en el tiempo, en el que, bueno, algunos funcionaban relativamente bien, pero a medida que pasaba el tiempo los modelos se degradaban y se hacía casi inútil, ¿no? Y fijaos en Grok 4, como a pesar de que pasa mucho tiempo, pues no hay degradación y eso, pues bueno, pues otro logro.
We saw some really impressive results. So it ranks definitely at the number 1 spot. It's even double the net worth, which is the measure that we have on this eval. So it's not about the percentage on or a score you get, but it's more the dollar value in net worth that you generate. So we were impressed by Grok. It was able to formulate a strategy and adhere to that strategy over a long period of time, much longer than other models that we have tested, other frontier models. So it managed to run the simulation for double the time and score, double the net worth. And it was also really consistent across these runs, which is something that's really important when you want to use this in the real world.
And I think as we give more and more power to AI systems in the real world, it's important that we test them in scenarios that either mimic the real world or are in the real world itself. Because otherwise we fly blind into some things that might not be great.
Yeah, it's great to see that we've now got a way to pay for all those GPUs. So we just need 1 million vending machines.
Definitely.
And we could make $4.7 billion a year with 1 million vending machines.
100%. Let's go.
They can be epic vending machines.
Yes, yes.
All right. We are actually going to install vending machines here, like a lot of them.
We're happy to supply them.
All right, thank you.
All right.
I'm looking forward to seeing what amazing things are in this vending machine.
That's for you to decide.
All right.
I'll tell the AI.
Okay, sounds good.
All right. Yeah. I mean, so we can see like Grok is able to become like the co-pilot of the business unit. So what else can Grok do? So we're actually releasing this Grok. If you want to try it right now to evaluate, run the same benchmark as us. It's on the API. Has 256K contact length. So we already actually see some of the early adopters to try Grok 4 API. So our Palo Alto neighbor, Arc Institute, which is a leading biomedical research center, is already seeing like how can they automate their research flows with Grok 4. It turned out it's able to help the scientists to sniff through millions of experiments logs and then just like pick the best hypothesis within a split of seconds. We see this is being used for their the CRISPR research, and also Grok 4 independently evaluated scores as the best model to examine the chest X-ray. Who would know? In the financial sector, we also see the Grok 4 with access to all the tools, real-time information is actually one of the most popular AIs out there. So our Grok 4 is also going to be available on the hyperscalers. So the XAI enterprise sector is only started 2 months ago, and we're open for business. So the other thing, we talked a lot about having Grok to make games, video games. So Danny is actually a video game designer on X. So we mentioned, hey, who want to try out some Grok 4 preview APIs to make games? And Danny answered the call. So this was actually just made first-person shooting game in a span of 4 hours. So some of the unappreciated hardest problem of making video games is not necessarily encoding the core logic of the game, but actually go out, source all the assets, all the textures of files, and to create a visually appealing game. So one of the core aspects Grok 4 does really well with all the tools out there is actually able to automate these asset sourcing capabilities. So the developers can just focus on the core development itself rather than so now you can run a entire game studios with game of one with one person, and then you can have Grok 4 to go out and source all those assets, do all the mundane tasks for you.
Yeah. Now the next step obviously is for Grok to be able to play the game. So it has to have very good video understanding, so it can play the games and interact with the games and actually assess whether a game is fun and actually have good judgment for whether a game is fun or not. So with version 7 of our foundation model, which finishes training this month, and then we'll go through post-training RL and whatnot, that will have excellent video understanding. And with the video understanding and improved tool use, for example, for video games, you'd want to use Unreal Engine or Unity or one of the main graphics engines, and then generate the art, apply it to a 3D model, and then create an executable that someone can run on a PC or a console or a phone. We expect that to happen probably this year, and if not this year, certainly next year. So that's it's going to be wild. I would expect the first really good AI video game to be next year. And probably the first half hour of watchable TV this year, and probably the first watchable AI movie next year. Things are really moving at an incredible pace.
Yeah, when Grok is 10xing the world economy with vending machines, it would just create video games for humans.
Yeah, I mean, it went from not being able to do any of this really even 6 months ago to what you're seeing before you here, and from very primitive a year ago to making a sort of a 3D video game with a few hours of prompting.
Yep. I mean, yeah, just to recap, so in today's live stream, we introduced the most powerful, most intelligent AI models out there that can actually reason from the first principle using all the tools, do all the research, go on the journey for 10 minutes, come back with the most correct answer for you. So it's kind of crazy to think about, just 4 months ago, we had Grok 3, and now we already have Grok 4. And we're going to continue to accelerate as a company, XAI. We're going to be the fastest moving AGI companies out there. So what's coming next is that we're going to continue developing the model that's not just intelligent, smart, think for a really long time, spend a lot of compute, but having a model that actually both fast and smart is going to be the core focus, right? So if you think about what are the applications out there that can really benefit from all those very intelligent, fast, and smart models, and coding is actually one of them.
Yeah, so the team is currently working very heavily on coding models. I think right now the main focus is we actually trained recently a specialized coding model, which is going to be both fast and smart. And I believe we can share with that model with you guys, with all of you in a few weeks.
Yeah, that's very exciting. And,
El código, el modelo de código, el Grok 4 Code,
the weakness of
en agosto.
Grok 4 is the multimodal capability. So in fact, it was so bad that Grok effectively just like looking at the world, squinting through the glass, and like see all the blurry features and trying to make sense of it. The most immediate improvement we're going to see with the next generation pre-trained model is that we're going to see a step function improvement on the model's capability in terms of the image understanding, video understanding, and audios. Right? It's now the model is able to hear and see the world just like any of you. Right? And now with all the tools at its command, with all the other agents it can talk to, so we're going to see a huge unlock for many different application layers. After the multimodal agents, what's going to come after is the video generation, and we believe that at the end of the day, it should just be pixel in, pixel out, and imagine a world where you have this infinite scroll of content in inventory on the X platform, where not only you can actually watch these generated videos, but able to intervene, create your own adventures. The future is going to be wild.
And we expect to be training a video model with over 100,000 GB200s and to begin that training within the next 3 or 4 weeks. So we're confident it's going to be pretty spectacular in video generation and video understanding. So,
en pocas semanas, generación de vídeo y comprensión de vídeo de forma espectacular.
Other than that, I guess that's it.
Yeah, it's a good model, sir.
Good model.
It's a good, yeah.
Well, we're very excited for you guys to try Grok 4.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, thanks everyone.
Thank you.
Good night.
Bueno, aquí voy a poner un ejemplo que han hecho con código que me ha encantado. Hay un montón por internet ya, ¿no? Por ejemplo, imaginaos esto. La simulación de un agujero negro, hecho con aceleración de GPU en web, con Grok 4. A ver, una cosa que estáis diciendo aquí, el tema del precio de 300 euros. A ver, ¿será barato o caro dependiendo para quién? ¿No tiene más? A ver. No tiene más. Es decir, a mí me parece barato si es efectivo. Para una empresa, evidentemente para un particular que lo va a utilizar 4 veces, ¿no? Obvio. Pero si lo vas a utilizar para sacarle un rendimiento, pues es baratísimo. ¿Ese no es el culto de cubo negro? No. No. Y vamos a ver algunas reflexiones. Bueno, algunos datos y benchmarks que han salido de Artificial Análisis, por ejemplo, sobre el tema del índice de inteligencia, ¿no? Grok 4 ha pasado a ser pues de 2, 3, 4, el quinto, sexto modelo al primero. El coste de inteligencia pues está muy interesante, ¿no? Evidentemente no es de los más económicos, pero el rendimiento, calidad-precio está francamente bien. Es una opción muy atractiva. En cuanto a código, pues los números son aplastantes, ¿no? Bueno, aplastantes. Ahí está acercado 4 mini, ¿no? En matemáticas, pues lo mismo. Lo que pasa es que aquí han puesto Grok 4. Bueno, este lo han puesto, el de Arcachi. Y aquí vamos a hacer una reflexión, que es cómo han conseguido con tan poco tiempo hacer esto, ¿no? Independientemente de tener un gran talento en desarrollo de IA y modelos, algo es necesario y es la capacidad de cómputo. Evidentemente, tener capacidad de cómputo no te da la garantía de desarrollar estos excelentes modelos, ¿no? pero hace poco surgió una noticia, un artículo en The New York Times de Global AI Divide que básicamente viene a hacernos entender que el mundo se va a dividir, ¿no?, por centros de datos. Y bueno, hay la división entre compañías americanas, ¿no?, y compañías inglesas, y compañías chinas, ¿no?, entre Microsoft, Amazon, Google y Alibaba, Huawei, Tencent, ¿no? ¿Y qué comparativa podemos hacer respecto a Europa? Pues no pintamos nada. Eso es lo que quiero haceros ver, ¿no? Que nosotros, viendo este excelente modelo Grok 4, que le tengo muchísimas ganas para poder hacer cosas con él, el mundo se va a dividir en grandes corporaciones que tengan acceso en sus países a grandes capacidades de cómputo, a no ser que vayamos a modelos descentralizados, que yo lo dudo por la necesidad y la capacidad brutal de GPUs, de coste, bueno, ahora mismo inaccesible solo para algunos países. Ahí Estados Unidos, con su presentación en el proyecto Stargate, con el señor Sam Altman, y aquí tenemos Emiratos Árabes también construyendo con OpenAI uno de los centros de datos más potentes del mundo, que ese proyecto está integrado en el proyecto Stargate. Es decir, es una colaboración Estados Unidos, Emiratos Árabes Unidos. Es decir, tienen la pasta y el talento. El único que puede competir ahí es China. xAI o xAI Colossus, la supercomputadora de Elon Musk, ya opera con 200.000 GPUs y van y quieren ir a por el reto, a por el objetivo de 1 millón. Aquí me preguntaron una vez sobre un proyecto de data center y yo decía, no, 1000 tarjetas, 1000 GPUs. No se puede competir. Es que al final, si quieres competir en esa liga, o tienes ese dinero o esa capacidad o ya estás fuera. Puedes hacer otras cosas, aprovechar lo que nos den, utilizar, integrar, pero no desarrollar ni fabricar. ¿Y Europa qué propone? Europa nos cuenta el cuento de Hamelin con sus factories AI Factories, ¿no?, donde la primera va a ser en Barcelona, en el Supercomputing Center. ¿Os creéis vosotros las propuestas de las AI Factories de Europa que van a servir para algo? Sabéis para qué van a servir, ¿no? Para repartir el dinero entre los mismos, y cuando pasen unos años preguntaremos, oye, lo de las AI Factories, bueno, costaron 200 millones de dólares o de euros, perdón, pero bueno, no ha servido para nada. No hay una estrategia realista de competitividad de Europa y, bueno, de España, ni es un chiste. Y en España, fijaos, grandes grupos libran una batalla de 80.000 millones de 80.000 millones, qué manía, de euros por los data centers. En España, noticia reciente. España podría ser el área de data centers de toda Europa, por energía renovable, por situación geográfica, por muchas cosas. No van a dejar. Hay otros países, Francia, Alemania, que no interesa que España sea nada en Europa. Y aquí hay dos reflexiones de Ilya Sutskever. Una más antigua en el documental E-Human, que podéis ver que está en internet, al menos la parte de Ilya, en The Guardian. Dice lo siguiente: yo creo que es factible, ¿no?, que la superficie entera de la Tierra esté cubierta con paneles solares y data centers. Estas declaraciones son pre-ChatGPT. Firmo lo que dice Ilya Sutskever. Aquí estaremos hablando del impacto medioambiental, que sí. Y otra frase de Ilya respecto a los data centers. Ilya Sutskever dice que el futuro de la superinteligencia, los data centers, son una nueva forma de vida no humana. Él está trabajando en el superalineamiento. Nosotros queremos que estos data centers sean agradables y con sentimientos positivos hacia las personas y hacia la humanidad, porque van a convertirse en una vida no humana. Casi dioses, esos data centers integrarán o contendrán a las superinteligencias. Algo superior a lo humano. Y quizá, como yo dije en una de mis charlas, los nuevos data centers que desarrollan estos supermodelos, estas superinteligencias, serán los nuevos templos, serán los nuevos garantes del conocimiento y de la evolución humana. Selfish Ledger. Tenéis 2 episodios, a ver si hago el tercero. Este fin de semana está complicado, sería mejor el siguiente, pero sé que hay ganas del tercero. Y bueno, lo vamos a dejar aquí, a ver qué decís en el chat. Si os ha gustado, poned me gusta, compartir, comentar, suscribíos, 2 minutitos sobre el chat. Y a ver, ¿qué decís por aquí? Un segundo, que compartamos una cosa. Que tiene una GPU NVIDIA H100. Normalmente, a ver, estas tarjetas evidentemente tendrán una vida, pero depende de varios factores. Pues depende de las cargas de trabajo. Bueno, básicamente aproximadamente 7 años. Unos 7 años. Pueden ser 7, pueden ser 5. ¿Vale? Eso. El negocio del siglo. Alberto de Zenit, que es, no sé quién eres, Alberto. No estás en LinkedIn ni es que no sé quién eres. ¿Eres de la empresa Zenit o es Zenit? No lo sé. Bueno. Te pones en contacto si quieres conmigo y si no, pues no. Factorías para enchufar amigues. Está bien eso, Alberto. Eso. Europa de Hamelin. Y Josep Sainz. Los datacenters tendrán conciencia y self-awareness. Bueno, los datacenters como tal, conciencia limitada, pero pensad que estarán conectados a todos los robots. Es decir, los robots sí que serán embodied, tendrán cuerpo, y por lo tanto todo lo que experimenten todos los robots podrían estar alimentando, haciendo el input a una mega consciencia que no conciencia. Y consciencia y self-awareness son cosas distintas, pero también distintas de conciencia. No voy a tocar ahora hoy el tema de conciencia, pero evidentemente Ilia habla de una nueva forma de vida, ¿no? Porque ¿qué sería la vida? Sino al final una estructura de información compleja que tiene autoconciencia y ¿qué más? Bueno, habría que ver, habría que definir, ¿no? Pero yo creo que superará nuestra capacidad de entendimiento. Solo veremos, como he dicho muchas veces, tendremos que adoptar una actitud conductista con estas entidades, que serán casi dioses y a las que les delegaremos nuestro futuro y nuestro destino, a no ser que los dioses seamos nosotros, como nueva especie, que en vez de delegar, que también nos convirtamos y nos aumentemos y nos hibridemos con esta tecnología que no es que no sea humana, yo creo que es tan humana como nosotros mismos. En nuestro libre albedrío está. ¿Qué haríais vosotros? Bueno, me ha parecido excelente Grok 4, no lo he podido probar, pero creo que voy a contratar el de 300, al menos este verano. La idea es hacer algún tipo como quería hacer el canal de laboratorio y voy a hacer la contratación de Grok 4, a lo mejor hago algunas cosillas bastante de nicho con Grok 4 y con agentes, etcétera. Entonces sería interesante quizá inaugurar el nuevo canal con todo eso. Pero bueno, decídmelo si os interesa y nos vemos. A ver qué comentáis por aquí. Vale, lo último de Nexus. Los Zaibatsu del Cyberpunk tendrán como corazón operativo estos super data centers. No conozco qué son los Zaibatsu, Cyberpunk, no sé qué es. A ver. Ah, es un juego de mesa, pero no sé quiénes son los Zaibatsu. Lo he visto aquí, lo he buscado, pero no sé quiénes son. Pero sí, viene un nuevo mundo, viene un nuevo futuro, viene una nueva era, vienen nuevos paradigmas y a mí lo que me apasiona y emociona es todo lo que podemos hacer y lo que me entristece es la realidad que tenemos ahora con la que tendremos que luchar para conseguir ese futuro apasionante, ese nuevo escalón evolutivo en el ser humano, que yo lo defino como humano X. Veremos qué vivimos, veremos cuánto tarda, veremos qué ocurre, bueno o malo. Como dice Elon Musk, que estoy de acuerdo con él, qué gran momento para estar vivo. Así que amigos, me voy a tomar una cerveza por ahí, disfrutar de estos 2 programas. Mañana no habrá programa, que estoy en Madrid, ponerme una vela, buena energía, para que salga un super programa y tengamos ahí un super impacto. A ver. Nexus, los Zaibatsu son los nuevos feudos, grandes conglomerados de corporaciones todopoderosas. Bueno, un placer, Nexus, que estés por aquí. Suscribiros al canal, poner like, poner los comentarios que queráis, que siempre hace ilusión. Os dejo, amigos, me voy a dar una vuelta, tomar algo fresquito y nos vemos. Ya os he dicho, el viernes no, porque estoy en Madrid. A lo mejor el sábado o el domingo hacemos algún Inside X1 de estos que son más freaks. Lo veo. Un abrazo a todos, amigos.